Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
For some reason, The Last Jedi is trending again. I don't know. The bigger news is that Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey is stepping down.
Yeah.
Quit. Again, he quit before, like years ago when Twitter first started, and then he came back in 2015, and now he's quitting again. Mm-hmm. This a couple of weeks after I
mean it this time.
Yeah, I mean it this time. This is after they debuted Twitter Blue, which I have to wonder if it's going to land with a thud.
I thought they already did land with a thud.
People are pissed about having to pay for Twitter Blue. We'll talk a little bit about Twitter Blue later in the video, but we're going to talk about Jack Dorsey leaving suddenly. I think Twitter is too toxic even for him. It's too toxic for Disney. Disney was going to buy it a couple of years ago, and Bob Iger took one look at it and was like...
Well, that was around the time he came back, wasn't it? It was around 2015, wasn't it? Or 14?
Yeah, it's 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in trouble then. I know they were in trouble then. Mm-hmm. They brought Jack Dorsey back, and I have to wonder if Twitter is running out of steam because it basically gets off on political drama.
That's all it is anymore.
You know, it wasn't making money before. When we first started using Twitter, we talked about how it was a pretty mellow place, and it was just, you know, art and cat videos and, you know, stuff going on in people's day, and then
Tumblr went under, and then they all came to Twitter.
They all came to Twitter.
Seriously, you could trace it back to when Tumblr decided to block porn, and they went down, and then everybody went to Twitter.
And then we had all the political stuff, you know, from 2016 on, but I have to wonder, because they've said before that, you know, Twitter magnifies toxic voices because it gets interaction, gets retweets, and I have to wonder if it wasn't by design. Like, was Twitter a shitty place to be by design because they need more people on Twitter more often tweeting so they can make a case to charge people for it and to charge advertisers? I don't know. We're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 243,000 subs. Woo! Thank you so much for the support. We do talk about Twitter because we talk about cancel culture, and Twitter is ground zero for cancel culture. Like, if you're going to get canceled for something, it's going to be over some stupid tweet, or
most
it's going
likely,
yeah, or it's going to be somebody dragging you from Instagram or someplace else onto Twitter.
Right.
So
they can't get you. They can't get you where you're at. They try to bring you there to cause you trouble.
Yeah, right. It's like, you're in our domain now, bitches. So anyway, yeah, he quit. He quit. Let's read this article. I don't want to read his whole spiel because it's ridiculous. But Wall Street Journal, Jack Dorsey has stepped down as CEO of Twitter again. So I this guy's name, Parag Agrawal. I don't know. PA.
Sorry if we say it wrong.
PA, Twitter's chief technology officer, will replace Mr. Dorsey as CEO effective immediately.
Technology officer. You know, like, it's interesting because not long ago, people were having fits saying that, only certain political leanings get a better, you know, of course they were saying it was Republicans, which is someone in the middle. I can tell you that's not true. They were the ones getting away with their behavior more often than anybody else. And then that was by one of their internal people said that, you know, and stuff like that. Now we have a chief technology officer.
This doesn't sound like it was planned. He tries to say it was planned.
It's weird that they use a technology officer.
Yeah, just kind of like who's available.
Who's next in line?
You. Okay. Effective immediately. There's no like, hey, I'm going to be here until, you know, February of next year. I'm giving you 6 months notice.
Well, they get rid of him.
I don't know.
Either he just quit or they shit canned him. One or the other. It was like immediate.
Yeah, immediately. And this is about 2 weeks after Twitter Blue. Jack Dorsey is stepping down as the CEO of Twitter, the company he co-founded and has led since returning in 2015. He was there from like 2006 to 2007.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when suddenly out of nowhere, Iger was no longer the CEO and Chapek was. And then when they did the interview, it looked like Iger had been beat down, like someone had chewed him out. And Chapek looked like he was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And it's like, I don't think it was planned. It reminds me of that. Like something happened and suddenly they were shifted and switched for whatever reason.
Well, there's a certain high profile trial going on today. I hope it doesn't have anything to do with that.
Oh, I hope not too. I didn't think about that.
I'm just saying. But yeah, it is very sudden. And when there are sudden exits like this, you know, it makes you wonder. Because I mean, honestly, if you were going to jump ship, I would have jumped ship before the election last year.
Yeah.
But, here we are. So Dorsey will remain a member of the board.
What's that sound like?
Iger. Yep. Until his term expires next year, the company said. He's also currently the CEO of payments company Square Inc. Shares of Twitter were halted Monday morning. Before the halt, the stock had risen 3.4% following a CNBC report on Mr. Dorsey's departure.
Wait, the stock went up and people heard he was leaving?
Yes. This is a vote of confidence, right?
That's funny.
Twitter can only get better. It can only get better without Jack.
Oh my God. That's funny.
I've decided to leave Twitter because I believe the company is ready to move on from its founders, Mr. Dorsey said in the press
It's all
release.
weird.
My trust in Parag as Twitter's CEO is deep. His work over the past 10 years has been transformational. I'm deeply grateful for his skill, heart, and soul. It's his time to lead.
Well, if he's a chief technology officer, he probably has more to do with why it works and runs than Dorsey does. He probably knows more about it and everything than him, too.
Dorsey has been described by current and former employees as a hands-off leader.
What's he do?
Delegating most major decisions to subordinates in part so he can pursue his personal
I was going to say, he's the CEO of Square, too.
Yeah.
And he clearly, basically, this takes the money and takes the position. He wasn't paying attention. I don't know. It just seems more and more like he was told he was out.
So they talk about how he co-founded Twitter in 2006 and was the CEO for much of the period between then 2008. Most people never heard of it until 2008, 2009. So he was already...
Most people that are on there didn't even use it until Tumblr went down.
Yeah, let's be honest. Twitter's golden era, from someone who's been on Twitter since 2008, 2009, was the early 2010s, before Dorsey.
I would say pre-2016.
Yeah.
All that shit.
Yep, he came back because they were in trouble, and this was about the time I think Disney was looking at buying them, and Disney's like, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. Dorsey did not solve, he said, let's see here. For years,
Dorsey... They make it about Trump.
Yep, for years, Dorsey allowed Trump to incite violence against large segments of the American people.
Well, that's okay. There's plenty of people on Twitter who do that every day now.
Yeah.
And they're not the heroes they think they are. I see so much shit out of extremists on both sides. It's ridiculous. And some of the people, there is one, I'm not going to mention names, but there's one account that's going and actually taking tweets from some of these dipshits from like what they said a couple years ago to what they're saying now, just to show the hypocrisy of everything they said pre-Trump, after Trump. It's hilarious.
Yeah. It all comes down to politics. I guarantee you.
Didn't used to be that way on Twitter.
Guarantee you if Trump had a second term, we'd have a lot more anti-vaxxers from Hollywood.
Yeah, probably. Well, that's some of the tweets they were showing. I'll never take that vaccine because it came from Trump. And the same people are like, well, how these anti-vaxxers not taking the vaccine? And I'm like, you said not to take it like a year ago.
I know, right? That'd be so funny. If there were side effects, they'd be like, look, Trump is literally killing people.
Yeah, I know. It's just
with this horse vaccine.
The hoops they jump through to blame it on one side, it's just so funny to me. But at the end of the day, I firmly believe that shit is shit. It doesn't matter which side you're on. Extremism is extremism. Doesn't matter which side you're on. And if one thing is bad, then doing it on the other side is equally as bad and should be treated in the same manner. Continue.
Anyway, Dorsey didn't solve Twitter's broader problem with bullying, harassment, and racism.
Still hasn't solved it.
No, leading many to simply ask him repeatedly to ban the Yahtzees.
Okay, that's just it. Who determines? See, the vice. Well, it's just vice. So that's all you need to know. They keep. Who decides? Because here's the thing: it's a very nebulous term, and I'm tired of them throwing it around. Well, first of all, it's disrespectful to people who were abused by actual Nazis. I'm just gonna say it's very wrong. It's just dismissive. You basically made the word mean nothing now. Yeah. And who determines it? Because I love this nebulous. The people are bad, and what it comes down to at the end of the day, if you didn't vote the same way I did. That's usually what it is. Meanwhile, I have seen the most toxic, bullying, istophobic behavior I've ever seen in my life out of people who claim to be far leftist. That are like, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it because I've seen it. Like, they're like, okay, for example, Zoe Saldana. She was defending Chris Pratt. And the people that were going on about how, racism's bad were calling her racial slurs because she didn't do what they wanted. I see people telling young artists to kill themselves because they didn't draw the character the way they wanted.
I know, right?
They tell the people that are like, we're all about, we're all about like acceptance and diversity and inclusion, are the most narrow-minded, bigoted bunch of assholes I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying something. So yes, there is a bullying problem on Twitter, 100%. But it's not all as cut and dry as ban the Nazis, because it depends. Everybody's definition of this is very different, and it's very nebulous. And I guarantee you 90% of them aren't even actual that way that you're demanding they ban. They don't agree with you about a cartoon show or about who you voted for. And that's not the same thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, I would love for Twitter to not be toxic. And
I would too. I would love that. Cat videos return.
Yeah, I think it's too late. We'll talk a little bit about Twitter Blue here in a second. I actually thought about buying Twitter Blue. It's only like $3 a month just to kind of curate. Like, I don't mind Twitter as long as I don't have randos popping up in my timeline saying stupid shit. Mm-hmm. You know.
Oh, I get so much shit. It's ridiculous.
They come after you more than they come after me.
Yeah, because they wrongfully think that, I'm the weak link, which is hilarious to me.
Anyway, you are not weak. Mm-mm. Anyway, so in a tweet, Dorsey published the email he sent internally explaining why he was leaving, saying the fact that he believes Agrawal is best fit to replace him, et cetera, et cetera. He said that he's going to have Brett Taylor join as Twitter's board chair, gives him a lot of confidence in the strength of our board. He's going to stay on until May.
Sounds like Iger.
Yeah, and then he's going to fully leave. I mean, he is out the door quick. He's already
got CEO jobs other places. It's barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, right. How many other gigs does he have? They're probably, they could be asking him. If I were a board member, I'd be like, hey, Jack, how many companies are you the CEO of? And what the hell do you do here? Because the CEO, it's a full-time job.
Well, I always thought it was a little weird that Bob Iger was the CEO of Disney when he was also on the board for Apple. And then Apple came out with Apple Plus after, and then Disney was like, we're calling it Disney Plus. I thought that was really weird.
Anyway, Twitter recently launched a wave of new products and features with varying levels of success. The site's Fleets feature, which lets people upload short-form Instagram-style videos, was scrapped just shortly after it was launched. I didn't know it was a thing.
I didn't either.
Twitter Spaces, an audio chat clone of Clubhouse, seems to be more popular. I didn't even know that was a thing. The company started the rollout of Twitter Blue, a paid subscription service whose users gain extra benefits like the ability to undo tweets. At the same time, Twitter plays in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space, adding a tipping option in Bitcoin and playing.
I knew that because I went to go to one person's thing and they asked if I wanted to tip them right off the bat.
Interesting. Playing a rollout of verified NFT profile pictures. I thought those were bad. I thought Bitcoin and NFTs were bad. Twitter doesn't like that. Dorsey's personal interest in cheerleading of cryptocurrency.
I was going to say, he supports it.
Yep. Has become legendary over the years. In the brief time between the rumor that Dorsey was leaving and spreading the announcement of the takeover of Agrawal, crypto Twitter managed to collectively freak out about the new executive cracking down on crypto. That's interesting. He's also the CEO of Square. In recent months has become much more publicly outspoken about crypto. Maybe he's going to build spaceships too. Maybe he'll just go build it.
Who isn't now?
Send twits to space.
You can do that easily. You just have to say something they don't like on Twitter, and they knock themselves into space.
People are salty about Twitter Blue.
Oh, they were really pissed about it.
$2.99 a month.
But it's not required.
It's not required. But Twitter has to make money somehow. The Twitter has never been good at making money. Mm-mm. It was a money-losing proposition. It's basically like it was free-for-all chat room. And
that's what they want.
Yeah, and they did not have any kind of monetization for the first couple of years. They didn't even introduce advertising until like 3 or 4 years into it.
Twitter needs to do something about their blue check service.
Yes, they do. I would pay $2.99 a month to finally get my blue check.
Yeah, because, it's very interesting. Some rando could write one throwaway story for some blog. And if it leans a certain way, especially, they suddenly get a blue check. You can be an actual notable person. People tried to copy you, and you actually have copyrights, trademarks, and everything else. They won't give you one.
Yeah, I know. They're ridiculous. Well, maybe with this new guy, maybe with the need for them to find more revenue, maybe they'll offer the pay to be verified feature.
Yeah, there you go.
Pay to play, and that's going to piss off.
Well, if you're paying the $2.99 a month service, they should at least make sure you're verified.
Yeah, I think they should. If you want to be. But this is what Twitter Blue includes: ad-free articles, top articles, themes, bookmark folders, customizable navigation, an undo button for tweets.
It's called delete.
Yeah, a reader mode for reading threads, and Twitter Blue allows for early access to features. It sounds like Patreon for Twitter.
It kind of does, because honestly, it doesn't seem like anything there's worth the money to get.
No, I would do it just to curate my feed better. I thought about. I mean, we've been on Twitter for a long time. I keep saying I'm going to leave. I don't leave because I don't want you there by yourself.
Oh, I'm
because they
fine.
dogpile you, man.
Oh, I don't care because I give it right back.
But it has become incredibly toxic, and it's sad because I loved Twitter back in the day. Like,
Yeah, it was my favorite one.
yeah, 2010 to 2012-ish, 2013, it was actually pretty decent, And then all the crazies came in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, guys. Something's up though.
It is weird.
It's a little weird.
I think it's another Iger Chapek situation where I think the narrative will be, oh, he meant to do that, but the reality is, here's the door. Yeah,
it's not. Twitter is getting a reputation for being the most toxic social media platform. You're not making enough money. Get the hell out. And
then going after quote unquote Yahtzees isn't going to help your case any because
they all left anyway.
Right, and beyond that though, I mean, the toxic behavior is never handled equally. And I'm telling you, for everyone they're yelling about on the far right, far left is doing just as much, if not more. Yeah. And I'm just sitting in the middle, like it all sucks. Why aren't you doing something?
Oh, you've got people that are, claiming to be Antifa, openly calling for violence on Twitter, and they do nothing about it because they're on the left.
They have politicians tell people to go do bad things, and that was okay. Yeah. But if anybody said anything about January or whatever, they were like being, thrown off of Twitter. And it was like, all of it was wrong. That's what I don't understand. It was all wrong.
I just think, just cat videos. That's it. That's all you're allowed to post anymore. Everybody, cat videos.
No, you can go TikTok for that now.
Okay. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah, please do. I'm tired of talking about it.
All right. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.